Welcome to Bridges to Alignment with Britt Bridges, Wellness Reimagined. This is a safe, transformative space where we explore energy healing, natural wellness, and the connection between mind, body, and soul. Through light, sound, and intention, you'll discover practical ways to align your energy, heal from within, and reconnect with your deepest self. This is your bridge to healing. This is your bridge to alignment.
Hello, and welcome into Bridges to Alignment, Wellness Reimagined. I'm your host, Britt Bridges, and I welcome you back for those of you that are joining us for another episode. So thankful for your presence, for your energy, for your participation. Drop us a line. Tell us how you're doing today. Tell us if you've tried any of the techniques that we've talked about on previous episodes. Would love to hear your feedback. And always remember that you can DM me on Instagram at Willowwell Wellness Community if you want to chat directly, or if you have any specific questions from the content that we share on here. But of course, I want to also welcome in our new viewers. I love new viewers. I am just always setting the intention to attract and magnetize in my soul tribe. So people who are vibrating at my frequency or looking to vibrate at a higher frequency. And that frequency is just purely divine love and light, guys. Unconditional love. That's the blueprint that I am here on mission to bring and reintroduce to this planet. So welcome. So happy to have you. And just so you know, this is a safe healing container. So get comfortable. Know that we love to talk about feelings here. Love to get raw. We love to get real. Just using some incense now to cleanse and purify the space, transmute anything that you may have been carrying from this day, or anything that anybody's been carrying from this day that is not of their highest and greatest good. And we're transmuting it now into unconditional love, light, peace, harmony, and joy. And so, as on all my episodes, I always like to get this session started with calming our nervous system. Guys, regulating the nervous system, I know it's a buzzword, it's a buzz statement, but it's necessary. It is necessary because we are electrical. We're electrical beings. See this? This is the electromagnetic field around our body. And this is all based on the principles of quantum physics, guys. This is not woo-woo stuff. This is like real deal science stuff. So I encourage you, go back and see the episodes on the basic principles of quantum physics, or just do a simple Google search and learn more about it. And you will learn that we are an electromagnetic field, that we have a positive and a negative pull on us, that we are essentially batteries, and we are electrical. Our organs are electrical. Our nervous system is electrical. It's a highway of neurons. Neurons are electrical, and everything in our body is communicating to one another. Our DNA houses everything our body needs to heal. So that's what we talk about on this show, is all things energy healing, which is really everything, because everything is energy. We are scalar waves of light and sound vibrating at a frequency that creates matter. That's how you're able to see us. But what's fascinating is that the human eye can only see 0.0093% of the color spectrum of light. That's wild, right? Take a minute and think about that. We're not seeing, right, the light and sound that's communicating in and out of our cell phones. We're not seeing pretty much like x-rays are a good example of that too, right? We can't actually see our bones, but imagery and light and sound can. So I just love to introduce with that understanding that this is where this is coming from, is a scientific standpoint as well as a spiritual standpoint. And here at Bridges to Alignment, we love to connect inward. We like to seek truth and information inside of us, entering into our hearts, mind, body, soul, spirit. Don't like to source answers outside of us. We like to source answers inside of us. So I always am encouraging viewers to adopt a meditation practice or a prayer practice where you're able to tap into higher power, whoever it is that you tap into as your source, and seek truth, information. And that leads me to whatever you hear today, take what resonates and leave the rest, guys. Not everything here may be for you, and that's okay. Use your discernment. I do encourage you, though, if there is something that comes up that you're like on the fence about, and you're like, oh, I'm not sure if that's my truth or not, I'm not sure if I subscribe to that, that you take a moment to go inward and ask the divine, ask higher power, is this something that is my truth? And let it sit, right? And have the answer revealed to you. All right. And so today we have an exciting episode. We have something a little different today. We actually have a colleague of mine, Diane Beck from Soul Healing and Alignment here today. And she's talking about a healing technology that I have experienced, I can attest to, and it is life-changing. So we're going to talk about that today. And before we jump into hearing about this beautiful healing technology, I do want to get our bodies into a regulated state, get our nervous system into a regulated state. Because when we do that, we become more receptive to receiving new information. And we make more intuitively guided decisions when we do that as well. So that is a very beautiful state to be in. And we're just going to do a simple breathing technique, guys. You know me, keep it simple. We always like to keep it simple around here. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something called box breathing. For those of you that have joined us on the show before, we've done this before. For those of you that are new, this is a great technique to use in your car, in between meetings, when you first wake up in the morning, anytime. And remember, you can adjust it to your schedule. So if you only have 3 minutes, great. It still is effective. This is actually a breathing technique that the Navy SEALs utilize to get their bodies out of fight or flight mode. So it has been proven time and time again to be a great regulator of the nervous system, to put our body into a calm, peaceful receiving state. So let's get started. Go ahead and get comfortable. And I like to kind of move the body around because just like we talked about earlier, we're electrical. So our bodies like movement, likes flow of energy, constant flow of energy. So move the body around, do some shoulder rolls, stretch your jaw open. Hear that pop in action? Ooh, you're really getting in there with the pop in action. Left to right. Awesome. All right. Get comfortable, lay down, whatever is best for you. I'm going to guide you through this. What we're going to do is we're going to take a deep breath in. I'm going to do a count of 10. We're going to hold for 10. We're going to take an inhale for 10. We're going to hold for 10. We're going to release for 10. And then we're going to hold at the bottom for 10, just like a box. All right, here we go. You ready? Inhale deep into the belly. Hold. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Hold. One more time. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. And hold. All right. We should be feeling more relaxed and ready to receive. So I am going to hand it over to beautiful Diane Beck at Soul Healing Alignment. So just to tell you a little bit about Diane, she has a healing technology called Alchemy for a Life of Fulfillment. She comes from a very interesting background. She's worked 16 years studying hypnotherapy, somatic healing, sacred geometry, neuroscience-based methods, frequency work. I want her to talk more about the NLP as well, because I am not as familiar with that. And then also comes from the energy healing arts. And she's here today. She's going to tell us about this healing technology and just talk about how we can really harness our own energy to heal the mind, body, soul, spirit. Welcome, Diane.
Hello. Hello, Britt.
Hello. And you're coming from the UK, right?
Yep. I'm from the UK. Recently back from Hungary. Yeah.
Yeah, you've been hunting for retreat locations, right?
Yeah, I've got some leads on that, so that's very exciting. So I'll be back. I think I'm going to go back in August and check those out. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, welcome in. We love to have people from all over the world on this show. It's so cool with technology these days that we could just patch somebody in from the UK. I feel like it's like time travel because it's later there. It's 6 hours later than over here in the States.
Yeah, 5 or 6 hours. Yeah.
Well, tell us about this technology that you've created and, what inspired you to even get into this field? I always find it intriguing to hear from colleagues, like what made you enter this energy healing space?
Well, first of all, it's the technology is actually called the truth codes. So if you want to find out more about it, it's the truth.codes, which links to, it's like a sister site to my main site. And what got me into the whole field or for that particular technology?
I guess tell us a little bit about what got you in the field. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm curious to know what got you into this work in general. And then, what kind of led you to creating this technology. I know, right? It's a lot, but, the quick version, I guess, the Cliff Notes version.
the Cliff Notes, the really quick version. So I did actually start life out as an actress. So I went to RADA, and in the UK I was in films and theatre, mainly theatre and Shakespeare and all those kind of things, and loved it. And then my life took a real diversion. I started to experience stuff on stage which messed me up quite a lot, and I didn't understand why it was happening. And then my life started to implode. When I look at my astrology, it's kind of all there in the astrology for me. Quite interesting, right? Retrospectively, as I'm older now, I can kind of see the truth of the chart. But at the time, it was devastating because I thought that that's all that I was going to do. Then I kind of started to get into the mind. I became fascinated by the mind and was going up. There's this famous street in London in the UK, which is traditionally full of healers, and hypnotherapists and coaches and psychotherapists, called Harley Street, right? So I was kind of up and down Harley Street trying to find somebody that would in quotes fix me, and I was still very kind of very kind of looking for somebody to kind of sort it out for me. And you mentioned earlier the NLP. Well, the only thing that ever got close was a pattern, we call it a pattern interrupt method, a tapping method with something called NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, by these two guys, typically called Bandler and Grinder, who studied lots of amazing hypnotherapists and coaches at the time, created a model, and NLP is an approach that talks directly to the unconscious. It's quite a well-known approach in the field of personal development. So I trained in that and became obsessed with the mind and the ability to heal whilst I was still doing the acting. So I still dip in now for creativity because I just love creating. I've still got an agent and do all that stuff. But for the last 16 years, I've been working in London and all over the place and on Zoom and doing retreats. And now, now developed my own method over the years that started to come out of working with clients and seeing energy shifts around them. I was like, what the hell's this? Why am I seeing and feeling energy things happen in the room? I was trying to cognitively stay really professional, I thought, and then all these things started to change. So my work changed with it, and I started to look into spirituality. And short extra note is I went through a particularly tricky time, and all of the methodologies that I trained in didn't work, and I was hiring different respected coaches that I knew and therapists, and he's like, help me with this so I don't have to think. We often need guidance so we don't have to cognitively think whilst we're trying to heal ourselves, or do something for me, because I was going through this time and nothing worked. And I was in the bath and I was feeling particularly broken, and I remember, I don't know why I'm laughing, because it was bizarre. That was because it sounds as bizarre as it was, but it was phenomenal because it worked. So I was in the bath and I started to go deeper and deeper and deeper in, because I felt this disconnect. I knew I'd done loads of personal development work and I still felt disconnected. And I went so deep in and I started to get messages back, and all kinds of stuff started switching on. All kinds of things, which let's not go there. I mean, it was particularly paranormal, some of this stuff. So it was kind of mind blowing to me. And then the messages that I got healed the problem. And within about 15 minutes, I no longer felt disconnected. And I was like, crikey, and started to use it with clients, and they were getting pretty awesome results. I mean, the NLP and the hypnosis can be quick anyway. It's not always about speed, but this was quick and profound and deep. Yeah. So I was like, wow. And then spent the last few years really playing around with the technology. And then here we are. And you joined one of the early founders group, because I'm running another group. So you can hop on and join this group. And yeah.
Yes. And I got to do an activation with Diane, and I'll tell you, it was life-changing. It was life-changing. It really allowed me to see my own healing from a different perspective, from more like an inside looking out almost, in a way, which is so interesting. Yeah. Because I remember that you taught us to talk to our body parts. And I remember entering this portal while we were going through the activation of my heart. And I was literally in my heart chakra looking out. And I was seeing these, and it's interesting because I know that you studied sacred geometry, and it was like you had activated this sacred geometry because I was seeing it inside of my heart chakra. And I mean, guys, this wasn't anything special. There was no special music or anything. It was just literally Diane guiding us through this journey of discovering a whole different side of healing.
That was the first way. I mean, this what this technology does to simplify it is our physical bodies work with a language that bypasses our critical faculty, our thinking mind. So our thinking mind can filter and block, and connecting with the body is almost the first key in to a deeper language, which is talking in frequency. It sounds way more complex than it is, but in simple terms, you are using color, shape, placement, sound. It's frequency expressed in any number or all of those. And so the very first activation that you were on was just getting people used to communicating with their physical body, because whenever we have a pain or a sensation, that is the first port of tapping, of communication, that the physical body's using to go, hi over here, pay me attention.
Because the body knows the score, right? The body knows.
Like the John Sarno book. Yeah, the body holds the score. And it's like it's the spear end behind which is a whole history that you can actually unfold. So what you haven't experienced yet, which is actually super, super exciting, and you can keep coming to the groups if you want to really experience this. It will eventually take people through an initial coded response. Let's say they get a pain, and the pain expresses itself as a pink circle in their stomach. And I take them into that pink circle, and there's a certain approach and questioning developed over the years I've been doing this that allows us to unlock that pink circle, and it can take them wherever it needs to take them. So it can take them to a past life. Now look, I'm going to say things that are going to sound, I don't know, your audience, maybe it's all down to interpretation. Ultimately, it doesn't matter if you believe it's a guide or if it's a part of the oversoul, your higher self. Ultimately, I don't care. All I care about is, does it work? And so what happens is it works in that a client comes in with a problem and it matches it to a solution. The solution and the problem connect, and it recalibrates and creates an outcome that is harmonic. And that happens really quickly. But what's really cool is that it's a part of them that delivers wisdom that they cognitively could never have given themselves, or I couldn't have known to say it, which starts to get really fascinating. And there are all these tests I'm going to run with the group to prove that, it's not them connecting to a part of themselves, which in hypnosis we have different unhealed parts that actually we're kind of plugging into Mother Tree. And I'm excited, like, what are we, the oversoul, are we really plugging into the part of us that can connect to a field of a collective field of wisdom, So
direct into the source, right? Yeah. So I'm going to pause a minute, if that's okay. And we're just going to hear from some local sponsors, and we're going to come right back and deep dive into this further.
Sponsored by Intense Barbecue, family-owned barbecue food truck and catering company cooking in small batches to ensure that the food is the freshest it can be. Intense Barbecue can cater your events, and they do any kind of food. It doesn't have to be barbecue. Find them at SEBBQ.com and satisfy your meat tooth.
When you care deeply about Frederick County, you want your generosity to make a meaningful impact. The Community Foundation provides trusted leadership and guidance to connect people who care with the causes they care about, supporting local students, nonprofits, and community needs. Together, we're creating enduring impact and making more possible across Frederick County. Visit frederickcountygives.org.
Hi, we're back now. I want to just introduce it's basically bring your child to work day. Say hi. She was over there chomping at the bit. She loves the camera. She wanted to say, and Diane actually knows her. And yeah, so we're happy to have you here in the studio, sweet girl. All right. She's helping me while this summer while she's out. Okay. I love it. She actually went through your meditation as well. So, but you know what's interesting is when I hear you talk about this, it reminds me, because with my clients, I do something called a soul fragment retrieval. And I see a lot of parallels there with what you do. I mean, it's like a different approach, which is what's so neat about energy healing and all these different technologies, is that we came here coded with the blueprint to share this, right? Because everybody has a different way of healing, right? And a resonance. So that's why some people this resonates more so with them. Some people hypnotherapy resonates more so with them. So it's kind of all these different modalities, but it's just so neat to hear you talk about it and go, oh yeah, like that's interesting. There's so many different parallels here. Connecting dots. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sorry for that. We had that little break, but you were on a roll too. And we were getting into, but you were talking about, well, first of all, I wanted to comment too. You had mentioned, I don't know why I'm laughing. And it's funny because, we catch ourselves saying that a lot, right? Where we're like, it's not funny, but now it is. But I think maybe it's because we transmuted it, right? We transmuted that pain into purpose and laughter and joy.
Yeah, and it's me also grappling, I think, looking at it from the outside, where at the time it was very profound and emotional and moving. But you're right, it's like I've come out the other side of it and got so much from what would have been a pretty horrendous and traumatic time. And I'm really grateful for it. And I'm laughing because I'm laughing at like compassionately with myself, because I remember how shocked I was at what was going on. And I have a side of my brain which is testing all of this all of the time. I don't want to leap into assumptions. And at the same time, it's working on such a deep level that it really is interesting and challenging for me. So I kind of like, I laugh with it and at it. And at the same time, I'm really in awe of it. I feel like it's a real gift. It's playtime for me, this whole process.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that. And I think too, and I don't know if you can agree with this, but I feel like once you have truly surrendered, and I say to this healing process, but really it's like truly surrendering to the divine in our hearts, the divine, like going inward and seeking that wisdom that you were even talking about. You know what I mean? To heal ourselves. It's like once you start embodying that, embracing it, yeah, there's just so much awe in the evolution of all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
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 Yeah. So I want to talk more about what would like a one-on-one look with you. So is that how this program works, or is it more like a guided group? Because I know I've attended the group that you've created, but is there like a process to how you typically like to introduce people to this beautiful program you've created?
The group is a really good way into the work, but people do work with me one-to-one. There are programs that I do. There's the Aligned Life program that I offer, but that's an intensive. So if somebody really wants, because ultimately what this creates is an alignment to a very clear inner autonomy. As somebody who I used to do lots of personality profiling for companies, and would go in, and it's a personality profiling which is not like the Myers-Briggs, if you've ever heard of that, which is this is the kind of personality profiling which is very covert. And there was one particular program which is really useful for everybody, which is about leadership. And this leadership process that I run through with people reconnect somebody to inner autonomy and discernment at such a deep level of inner knowing that they can be CEOs, business owners, and if they've been feeling fragile and outsourcing their decision making to AI, to other people and things, and we all have to make decisions with family, with relationships, with career, with your business, and it can become fragile and fractured over time. And so actually this is a process which also heals up one of those personality profiles, which can lead people into feeling lost and disconnected and having lack of self-trust. So they can come to me for this program, and it can very rapidly really click that back into self-confidence and alignment in a huge way, and then take them in any direction. It can take them into, what's really cool about it is we connect in, and their soul will literally give them the next step in their career. I've got a banker client that I've been working with me for about 5 years now. So pre this technology and then during this technology. And when I started to work with her on this, in 3 weeks, she said, she's evolved her career more in 3 weeks than she had in the previous years working with me with the NLP and the hypnosis and the traditional kind of coaching and stuff. And she's been with the client with me for a long time. So if she likes it, and she's a banker, she's like very clinically just wants the result. And I'm like, are you sure you want to go there? Because it's going to be really woo and we're going to really go there. And she's like, I don't care as long as it works, which is the perfect answer. And then we really went there, and it transformed her relationship with herself. It's really connected her so massively deeply into inner direction and inner knowing. It's very, very exciting. There's another client too. This is what's so cool about it, is that it gave her answers to a property that she was gonna buy, should she buy it or not, and all of the craziness around the fear of buying it and where would it take her. And literally one of her guides came in through this process and literally told her to get on with it, which is very personality led for a guide. Guides are kind of, they've got full of personality, whereas the soul is very benevolent and loving and wise. And it was just really funny. It was just kind of going, get on with it. It was telling her exactly what to do. She's like, oh my gosh, that really is. It's telling me to buy the property. And so it can really guide you in a way that I would never presume to know, or filter and project and get in the way. I'm there holding the frame, but they get the deep inner wisdom and the inner guidance by learning how to connect, or they can heal with this very rapidly, because it literally knows exactly how to heal itself. It knows what frequency it wants. So when I kind of connected you to the heart portal, that's just the first way in to get to know the inner universe and a little bit of the inner language, but this can really get very, very specific. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to do and to hold.
That's amazing. And for those that are joining us today that are unfamiliar with the soul, the conscious, the subconscious, the oversoul, the high oversoul, also known as higher self, can you talk a little bit more about that, about, connecting into that higher self, right? That inner divinity part.
For anybody who is listening to this, I'd actually prefer you to just use your own language and find your own language on it. I want you to think about the fact that we have this thinking mind at the front that judges everything and can only actually sustain about 5 things to 9 things at once. And it's like a judgment filter at the surface. And its whole job is to judge. Which way do I want to go? Do I want a coffee right now? At a basic level. But it's not running us. It's not running any of our programs, of our desires, our needs. And then we've got this part of us that is typically called the unconscious or the subconscious mind, which is both the same thing, which is functioning and holds all of the programs. And its highest, most important job is to preserve your body, and I presume to house the experience. The soul, as I understand it, not the spirit, but the soul, the spirit is this experience. But the soul perhaps has had many experiences and is coming in through the physical body, using the unconscious mind and using the physical body like this computer interface. And so if the soul wants to talk to us, it's got to use the physical body. So we go in backwards. We go in through the physical body first and go, okay, I've got this. My heart is aching right now. It's maybe tightening at this emotion. And so rather than trying to suppress it or get rid of it, which a lot of therapies do, I would say, let's go chat to it. And we chat to it in the same language. But we can't use English or German. We've got to use the language it's talking. And it's talking in tightness. And that tightness can have a shape. And then that shape's going to have a color that's going to be surprising and interestingly strange. And if we approach it with childlike curiosity, that dissolves any judgment and cynicism. And it allows you to learn this language. This beating heart of this language is actually talking to you very fast all the time. And then after a while, it can actually turn into real conversation. And can actually literally take you back to a past childhood memory, or it can take you to a completely different space. It can take you to time and space. Really, really cool. But with the intention to get a result for something, rather than just some nebulous, you can do nebulous floating out into the heart center, or, you can have beautiful meditations with it. But if you want a result, you can really get one.
It's those intentions, right?
They're really clear. It's like getting to a train station going, I don't know where I am, get me out of here. And, the attendant will go, well, there's 15,000 destinations. Where do you want to go? Your unconscious mind, your brain loves a destination. It loves an outcome. So to go into this process with a clear outcome, we're not just nebulously floating around in a void. And it can absolutely give you exactly what you want. So be careful what you ask for, because it will mirror and reflect that. So having, I'm there as a frame and holding the frame and holding the language of it and helping guide them through it, but ultimately, I'd love people to learn that this is a practice that you do with the self. It's communion with the self to go to the soul. I hope that answers the question about how I consider, it's like it's the Holy Trinity, if you like, of your thinking mind, the unconscious mind, which runs your body, functions you, your emotions, forensically knows everything that's ever happened to you, everything about you. And then you've got the oversoul, the higher self, which is basically the part of you. If you think of it like a computer game that's outside the computer game, zooming in through the physical body, having this experience.
It's beautiful. Yeah, I thought you shared your take on it beautifully. And that it's interesting because I again, parallels there. That's how I see it as well. So, yeah. And I think it's so interesting that you mentioned approaching it with that childlike curiosity, because that is one thing that in our society that we've been taught, especially as adults and even as children, that we can't explore that side of us, that we can't express that side of us. But from what I have been shown, that is how we should be approaching life, is very much in tuned with that childlike curiosity, that imagination, that intuitively led callings as we go through. So I love that part that you mentioned there.
It's the feminine, actually. There's something which I really truly believe is that we can't know ourselves unless we actually connect to the feminine. And because the idea of feminine has equaled woman, and woman has been so suppressed, it can be embarrassing for a lot of the men, I feel, at the beginning that I work with, who feel like, oh God, what does that mean? I have to be more effeminate, or I have to be more, and that somehow deeply unconsciously is a cultural belief that's somehow weak to access that. It's actually the childlike awe and the accessing the internal world of like the darkness and the womb, the moon and all of that symbolism of the hidden and the occult somehow has some, nefarious meaning to it, or negative connotation to it. And actually, you can't know yourself unless you connect to that part. And so we've been kept in our thinking mind and in our masculine, in the external, which keeps us out of knowing ourselves, out of our personal empowerment. And so is it any wonder why people are struggling, and outsourcing everything to AI, to other people and things, feeling disconnected and lost? So this is not about that being in childlike awe is wrong. It's the only way you're going to cut off the critical thinking mind, which its job is to judge. You can't connect to the part of you that needs to learn and expand and grow if you're in that thinking judger mind. It's a real skill set we just weren't taught in my school, in my culture. I'm sure that there are other cultures that do.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's very interesting that you mentioned the feminine energy. And I think that I just want to state that we're talking about energy. We're not talking about gender. And within all of us, we all hold equal parts feminine and masculine energy. And so I think what Diane is talking about too is like creating this very much inner union between the two energies. So it's that yin and yang, that ultimate balance, right, of energies within our energetic bodies.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a universal law. It's everything has, like you say, the yin and the yang. It has the masculine properties and the feminine properties. Like a battery is like the plus and the minus side of the battery. It's that we're talking about. And so we can't be whole unless we've accessed both the positive, negative.
I love that you
polarity.
use the battery example, because I mentioned that in the introduction of that we are electrical bodies, and we have electromagnetic field around us, and we're essentially batteries, and we have a plus and a minus pole. So yeah, there you go, just reinforcing that. And before we wrap up, I did want to ask a little bit more about the sacred geometry piece of what you do, because I am extremely intrigued by this. The Fibonacci sequence and the flower of life, and how this is incorporated into your work.
Well, I mean, I love sacred geometry, and I think everything's come together in a beautiful way that life does, doesn't it? And I'd already been reading about sacred geometry and loved numerology and geometry and Pythagoras, and was researching all of that. But what happened with this process is, when I was going inside and I was seeing shape and given form, it's like harmony and disharmony. When a shape is harmonious and harmonic, the sound that would emanate from that and the color that would emanate with that would be in harmony with the rest of the body. When a shape is discordant, the sound that emanates from that and the color is also discordant. It's an expression. So rather than me go in with a geometric shape, although sometimes intuitively I would send that to a client and ask them to imagine that in something, I'd rather it come from them. And when we're working inside with this technology, the message inside, the messenger inside, will ask specifically what it wants. So for example, if we go in on a color and a pain, and it literally asks to be healed now, I might ask it, what does it specifically need? And I'll give it some geometry, I'll give it some ideas, and it will literally ask for, let's say, a particular geometric star shape, or it might ask for a pink triangles, as long as the client is open to this, And even if they're not, to be fair, it was extraordinary about it is that even though it's being sent, they're still describing it to me. It's not a very deep trance state. And they're saying, okay, and it's going, and it's literally using the star shapes or whatever it's asked for, and it's literally decimating, and it will use geometry to heal itself.
It's fascinating.
It is fascinating to me. But one of the things that I do know as well, that cancer in the body screams. So when they actually noticed the sound that was emanating from cancer cells, those cells are actually screaming. So things in the body which are discordant and not harmonious will let us know. And so I love the idea that the system really wants balance, and it will ask for, it will ask for the equal opposite, it will ask for its own balancing harmonics. And that's where the shapes and the geometry come in. It will know. And the more we can remove our minds out of this process and allow it to just ask for what it wants, the quicker this process gets. And it is fascinating. I mean, we don't know till we go in. It's the less we project and assume to know, and the more we let it ask for what it wants, the quicker the result. It's really, really interesting. Shape, form. It's fascinating.
Truly incredible. And again, I had the honor of going through one of your activations, and it truly has changed my life. And it's
Thank you.
Well, as an energy professional, working in this field, I've even incorporated what you taught and educated me on into my work. And so that's how much of an imprint you have made on me and my soul, which is why I was called to have you on this program, because this truly is remarkable work, what you're doing. Keep doing it. And just so thankful that you were able to come on today and share this with us. Is there anything else that you want to leave with or close out today with and impress upon our beautiful viewers?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on, and for what you've just said. It really does mean a lot. And for those that are watching, if you want to experience it, it is there for you to kind of join in a way that it's open to everybody. And I just invite everybody. This is for all ages. Like your daughter joined, it's
Yes.
like this is not going to require of you to know anything before you go into it. But I do think it's our birthright to know how to commune with ourselves at a level that can both heal and shape the navigation of our life. And so it's not mine. I just sort of found it, and it's there now for everybody, but it is something that you can access. So if you go to my site, you can hop on, and I hope to see you there.
Awesome. Thank you, Diane.
Thank
And all
you.
Diane's
It's a pleasure.
information, website you can find in the description. Of course, I got to give a shout out to Everything Frederick Live and all they're doing for the community and giving us this incredible platform to come on and share this wealth of knowledge with you all. Be sure to like, subscribe, find Diane on Instagram, right? You're on Instagram?
I'm on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
What's your handle on there on Instagram?
Diane Beck Truth Codes. So
There we
we'll
go.
put that in the description.
Be sure to follow Willow Well Wellness Community. And we're just saying bye. We're so thankful for you guys. Meditate. Have a great day. See you next time.
Bye. See you.
Thanks for joining Britt Bridges on Bridges to Alignment. If this message spoke to you, be sure to like and subscribe for more conversations on energy healing, natural wellness, and living in alignment with your highest self. Bridges to Alignment is proudly part of the Everything Frederick Live podcast network and can be rewatched anytime on the Everything Frederick Live YouTube channel. Until next time, stay grounded, stay open, and keep aligning with the life you are meant to live.
This episode is a proud production of the Everything Frederick Live podcast network. Your home for Frederick's best podcasts, streaming daily on YouTube.